folks, welcome in. It is Sunday, and it is time for another episode of the Hoops Betting Hour presented by Pixwise and powered by FanDuel. I am the big man on campus. He's Donnie Rightside. It's Sunday, March 21st, and Donnie, day 3 of college hoops is here. It's the round of 32. We've already had one game. We got some Cinderellas still involved. We got some one seeds. We got all sorts of things to bite into today. A lot going on. Wild night last night. How you doing? Welcome in today.
Bracket busters, which is a good thing that we are gamblers. Well, maybe it's a good thing. Yesterday, just really relaxing in the afternoon, having a nice run. Me and the fam drove down to the shore, ate at Manco on the boardwalk, watched a little bit of games, drove back, watched a movie, didn't watch anything on the night slate, didn't see 1 second of it, woke up and saw the final scores of the games. I was like, are you kidding me? With me, I think I lost the last 4 games of the night, which ruined my entire day. But that's the way it goes when you pick every game.
Yeah, the night slates have been tough, man. I mean, there's been some weird results. There have been some weird goings on, but you know what, Donnie? We had a pretty good day for the most part yesterday on the show.
I didn't.
Well, at least I did for the first couple of games. Donnie, yesterday dogs go 11-4 against the spread. So very good. Mainly the big ones. Abilene Christian knocks off Texas. Listen, Donnie, I had Texas to win the tournament. I've said that before. I thought they were playing at an elite level. You know, what are you going to do? Brackets go down. I guess that's more of like a consolation prize. But Donnie, I will say this. You can root in underdogs all you want, but I got to be honest. I have no interest in watching drabby, boring Abilene Christian in another round. I would have liked to see Texas find a way. I don't think that's how you close a game out by calling some phantom foul. Donnie, you have to have a really legitimate call to call a foul late in a game like that. But Texas should have never been in that position. 22 turnovers, just didn't play well. Defensively, they were Abilene Christian very good. But yeah, it was a wild day. A lot of dogs come in. But you had some good ones. We had some good calls early.
Yeah. No, the first part of the card was very good. And I got to tell you, the last update I saw before I conked out was Gonzaga with 43 at the half, up 20. I'm like, damn, genius me. It's not like the second hit doesn't matter. They throw up another 45 or 43, win by 25, 35 points, and it's over. And they scored 55 points in the second half. That damn machine kept me out of it, Jeff. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, they're
98. They scored 90. I had 93 and a half as a team total under, figuring that Mark Few was like, dude, this game doesn't matter in the second half. And they scored 55.
Yeah, that's sick. That's really sick. Yeah, those are rough ones. A couple other notable results. A couple of back doors. Eastern Washington came through the back door. Greensboro covered. But, Donnie, we had those two pegged easily. UNCG stayed way under from a team total standpoint. Eastern Washington went way over. I think that game I think they had 68 points with like 7 minutes to go. Colorado was no match for they couldn't miss. That was impressive. We pegged LSU. They beat up the Bonnies. Bonnies had no shot in that game.
No.
Michigan, nice cover for Texas Southern, Donnie. Big 1 seed. That was a nice, impressive run by Johnny Jones's crew. We pegged Santa Barbara. They almost win. That's a rough loss. How about Iona? They hung around for a while.
They did. Yeah, I should have known better on that because I had the Alabama team total over 81.5, and I saw right away. And sometimes you could just factor on what the defense is going to do, but Iona wanted no piece of running. I mean, here's what you have, and good for them because that's the way they stuck around. They covered the spread, or kept Alabama way under the total. But whenever you see a team inbound the ball on one side and the point guard doesn't even get into a jog until the opposite three-point line, you know what's going to take place in that game. And Alabama didn't make any three-point shots in the first half. That was sunk right away.
Alabama,
but they won. But they still won.
They also missed a lot of bunny layups.
Sure.
And when you go back and look at it, Donnie, they win by 13, and you missed 4 or 5 layups. You probably should have hit it, but Iona, nice cover there. USC used their athleticism, pulled away from Drake in the second half. That's kind of what good teams do. How about the Lopes, Donnie? The Antelopes jumping up and down. They get the job done. I'll tell you what, Donnie. I watched that game. Those are the kind of games you hate to bet on. You have plus 15, plus 14, and lead of the game sat on 14 and 15 the entire way.
Mm-hmm.
You need a Gonzaga to hit some shot, or not get the Grand Canyon to hit some shots. But I'll tell you what, and I'll keep giving the guy respect. I don't like them as a team, but Luka Garza is a tough matchup, man, because if you try to get him up down low, he's just going to go out and pick and pop, and he can make threes. Yeah. It's pretty incredible. A couple others, Donnie. I don't know what that performance last night from UConn was, but shout out to Mark Turgeon. Nice win for the Terps. Yeah. I don't think Maryland ever didn't lead in that game. That was a war.
No, but it was a lot of fun with that one, Jeff, is I had a team total over 63.5. So that was fun. For
UConn?
No.
Or for Maryland? No. Oh, wow, you did. Damn it, playing on 60. That's sick. Yeah. Ohio, how about the Bobcats? They beat up Virginia. I didn't see that coming. I thought Ohio would 58 points. But Virginia is what they are, man. They just – you look back and you say, well, I should have known better. And then a couple other results. But all in all, the big one was Texas. How do you lose? I have no idea.
It's the best conference in the country, Jeff, the Pac-12. Is that just we missed it all year?
Yeah. They look –
busting teams. That's just boss Georgetown. UCLA just kicks BYU in the head and moves on. Oregon's so good they scared VCU into saying we don't even want to play this basketball game. How about that, huh?
Yeah, I still don't quite understand the coronavirus thing. So, some people can play, some teams can play. How does Georgia Tech play, but VCU can't?
Yeah, what county? It depends on what county you're in and all that stuff. So it was kind of interesting the way that did play out. But it was an interesting day overall yesterday. Already over 100 people watching here. 9:07 in the morning on Sunday on the Hoops Betting Hour with Jeff Nadu, presented by Pixwise, powered by FanDuel. Get those thumbs up, thumbs down. Hit the subscribe button, whatever you want. Sunday, this is good stuff, man. This is good stuff because we are here on round 2, theoretically. They want to call it round 3, but we won't let that happen. This is officially round 2 today. Some good games all the way through, starting at 12 o'clock with your boys, ending at 9:40 tonight. And then another Pac-12 team is going to take down a Big 12 team. How you like that, Jeff?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. We will get into it here. But, yeah, the Pac-12's done a nice job. Colorado looked great, and obviously USC pulled away. So, yeah, maybe they are the best conference. But, Donnie, one team that I'll quickly just keep mentioning. You talked about it. You were very steadfast with this team. I think we both assumed that, Michigan's going to have trouble with LSU. LSU's legit, man. They're starting to play defense now.
Get whatever they want. They get whatever they want on offense, Jeff. They get whatever they want. It's amazing.
It's really impressive. They're doing a nice job. So keep an eye on Will Wade's team. But, Donnie, let's get into the games. We thank you for watching. We thank you for joining us here. We got, 7 games today, 8 games today. We'll get into them all here starting at 12:10 Eastern. You want to jump into it, Donnie?
Yeah, I have a lot of dogs today to play, and it's going to start off in the first game here between Loyola Chicago and Illinois. 809, 810 on the rotation. Opened up at FanDuel 6.5. Now we see 7.5s on the board. Over under hasn't moved 133.5 to 133.5. So not much movement here early on. Keep in mind also, this is a quick tip. 12:10, they're going to get underway immediately. My thought prognosis behind this game, Jeff, very simple. I've used it a few times already in the tournament, and it's worked wonders. The team that just is not as good as the other team, but plays sound, has good coaching, can hit threes, plays good defense, doesn't turn the basketball over. They have the ability to hang around, and that's Loyola Chicago here, excuse me. I think the Eastern Washingtons of the world, the Colgates of the world, the same thing. If Loyola Chicago does not hang around in the first half and cover, they're going to get obliterated in this basketball game. Their only shot is to be around the chicken coop or at the lead versus Illinois at the half. It's worked well for me, as I said, Jeff. For me, Loyola +4 in the first half. If they're not covering that, they ain't covering this game.
Yeah, well, look, I think you made, part of your breakdown, I think was dead on the money. Not that I don't agree with the whole thing, but I think you make a good point. Dogs are covering in this tournament. We just mentioned 11-4 yesterday. Dogs cover. You're getting a full 3 possessions here with a team that is very good defensively, arguably the best defense team in this tournament. They don't really turn it over. They have a really sound half-court offense, and they have a big that can combat the other big. Now, look, Kobe Coburn is a tough matchup. I'm not going to say that Krutwig can just cover him. But one thing I know about him, and here's why he's not as talented as Garza. If you go and run at Coburn, he's going to have trouble passing the ball out and he's going to kind of be a little jumbled with the basketball. I think Krutwig is a sound kid. He's a 4-year player. He's a legit big. I mean, he's right up there with a Coburn. I look at Lucas Williamson on the perimeter. I think he can bother DeSumo just a little bit. It really is going to come down to Illinois. Is the rest of the team going to show up? Is Miller, Carbello, Trent Frazier, the other ancillary pieces, are they going to show up and hit shots? I've often said, and I always will continue to maintain, I think Loyola Chicago is not necessarily at this point in this tournament, they're not a mid-major. I know they are on paper, but from a standpoint of how they play and how they are a top 10 team in this tournament, in my opinion. And Ken Palm agrees. So that I'm not saying anything that's ridiculous here. Defensively, I think they'll do enough. They're very good in the half court. They struggled a little bit first out of the gate just with, I think, either rust or they didn't know how to handle Georgia Tech. But as the game went on, they grew into the game. It's going to be a tough matchup. Coburn's really good, and he's really big. But Krutwig is a 4-year guy. And, Donnie, what do we know about the Missouri Valley? A lot of big corn-fed kids there. We know over the years Loyola played some really good teams. I remember when they went to the Final Four when he was a freshman, he played really well against Grant Williams, who's a really good big and in the NBA now. So, Loyola will shut possessions down. They're a good rebounding team. They don't foul. I'm going to look at the Ramblers hanging around, covering the game. I think they have a shot to win it and keep my ticket going.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out in that over-under 133.5. Don't have a great feel for that because, again, Loyola is a lengthy defensive team. Not talking about the players itself. I mean, making you extend, close down the three-point line, shooting a jump shot under 5 seconds left on the clock, stuff like that. And the same thing on offense. Loyola is not going to shoot unless they want to shoot, which means this isn't one pass three ball and let's see what happens out here. It'll be interesting to watch it play out because both of these teams, according to Ken Palm, Jeff, both in the top 5 of defensive efficiency in the country. Points could be hard to come by, or do we just look at it and say, look, Illinois is more talented at every single spot on that floor. They can get wherever they want. Loyola Chicago hasn't seen this before. That's the only downgrade here, if you would say it, because they are elite athletes. But again, in my mindset, if we're going to hang around and have a chance in this game, you can't be – if you're down double digits at the break, Loyola's done. They might get smoked by 20. That's just the way I see it here, but I do think they can hang around.
I kind of liken this game to that Grand Canyon, Iowa game a little bit. I mean, I assume the same thing. When Grand Canyon went into the game down 11, Luka Garza didn't play really any in the first half. I thought game over. They're going to run him out. But Grand Canyon did a nice job. They were good enough defensively. They held the ball long enough, and they made shots. And that's something Loyola can do. I think Loyola is going to have the opportunity if they could just make those shots. And they are an efficient offense, so I don't see why they shouldn't. They're 4th in the country in 2-point offense. So, I hear you. I think we both like Loyola in some form of fashion here.
No, true. And we'll see how it plays out, but I am rooting for them. I know you have a nice futures ticket on that. I don't really have a lot tied to Illinois. I don't have any futures on Illinois, so a top seed going down theoretically helps me out with my 3 futures, which all improved after round 1, which is Houston, LSU, and also Baylor. But again, we need somebody to come over in that bracket and knock Gonzaga out, and it's going to be tough, but hey, it is what it is. We've seen some crazy things happen before.
Is Gonzaga just going to roll and win every game by 25? I mean, it seems like that. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if it happened.
No, we'll see how it plays out there. But second game on the deck today, 801-802, Wisconsin going up against Baylor. Opens up at a 6-point favorite here at FanDuel. Goes to 6.5, over under 138 now at a 137. In this one, we saw Wisconsin play extremely well against a much more talented UNC team and just absolutely disgraced them on the court, took them apart, did whatever they wanted on offense. 3 balls were falling down. UNC couldn't get out of their own way. Obviously, a different level of competition here with Baylor, not from a talent perspective, but from a coaching perspective. You're going to get the 3 ball get knocked down at elite level. They're going to play nasty defense. They're used to these bright lights, not like UNC. We're saying, hey, they're really talented. I wonder what I get out of them today. We know what we get out of Baylor, but having said that, I have Baylor, a future on Baylor winning this tournament, Jeff. But I look at Wisconsin. I see the game as a slowdown game, rock fight, maybe. I'm taking Wisconsin plus the 6.5. What are you looking at here?
Yeah, you're definitely jumping into the Lions' den here. Wisconsin is so weird, man. Right? I mean, they all year were inconsistent. We talked about that kind of ad nauseum. But Donnie, one thing that you always have to write home with Wisconsin about is they're a team that is not going to go away from what they do. They are a smart team. They don't turn it over. They may not always make shots, but when they make shots, they're going to be a tough team to beat because they do play slow and they do defend. And I was blown away at their performance. You could make the case, Tony, that was the best performance the entire week so far. They dismantled a more athletic – Donnie, my dad he's not a big sports guy, but I was up there the other night, and that game was on, and we were sitting there watching. I remember the first thing he said was, wow, look how big they are compared to the other team. They just look like different. And he was right. It was impressive what they were able to do. But I don't know about this one. I kind of lean under. I think both these teams, it's kind of played at a slow pace. I think Wisconsin does have some of the bigs that kind of combat what Baylor will do. I didn't have much in this game. I'll root for you. I'll root for Wisconsin. Just because, I do think Baylor is a team that's a little vulnerable, and they have been a little vulnerable. I don't think we can gauge much after the Hartford game. But, Donnie, if you look at the first 10 minutes, Hartford did some good things. That was a close game. Wisconsin may be a sleeping giant where, Davidson has finally found it. And that's one thing I think you have working for you here. Brad Davidson is playing at a high level right now. He hadn't played well all year, but the senior's finally playing well. Him and Trice, I think were 10 for 17 or 10 for 18 from three the other night. Really impressive stuff. So, and you also need Ralvers and Potter and those. Just be good enough. Rebound, do little things, and they're going to play really slow. So, I don't hate the play. I would lean Wisconsin, but it's not a game I'll be betting. I'll root for you, though.
Yeah, these are good basketball teams. And I preface this by saying each show we did, these teams aren't in a big, hat where they're just picking out teams like, hey, you go to the tournament, you go to the tournament. You had to have a modicum of success during the season or in your conference tournament to show you can play with the big boys. So now when you get down to games like Wisconsin and Baylor, both really good on defense, both really efficient on offense. The one key factor that comes down to, look, Baylor is the best team in the country shooting the three-point shot, 41%. Not like, hey, they shoot 41% of their volume. No, they make 41% of the three-point shots, which I always say is the ultimate equalizer, but also on the opposite end, Wisconsin is a slow team. They don't turn it over at all. Baylor is one of the best teams in the country at turning you over. So if you win that battle, more shots go up on your side for Wisconsin that typically with Baylor, because if you look at the turnover percentage, Jeff, 1 out of every 4 trips down the court against Baylor, you don't even get a shot. And it usually is a live ball turnover where Baylor's running out the other way, 2-on-1, 3-on-1, and getting an easy layup. If that doesn't happen today, I think everything restricts down. And we're also talking about two good defensive teams, as I said, 6.5. That's almost 4 possessions that you're looking at. I think it comes down to the end in this, which is the only reason why I'm taking Wisconsin. And also another point here, Jeff, just because I have a Baylor future doesn't mean we're just going to be gung-ho. This is still a day-to-day thing. You take the futures and compartmentalize them and say, all right, we'll see at the end of the tournament. But day-to-day, do I think Baylor wins this game? Yes, I do. But I'm not going to be shocked, Jeff, if this game is 61-60 with a minute to go. I'm not.
No, and I think the under has some play here. Donnie, let me ask you, we broke down 2 1 seeds.
Yes.
Chances 1 lose outright. Like 100%, up to 100%. Is it 20%? What is it?
What if one of these teams loses outright and doesn't make it to like the Final Four?
No, just today they lose.
Oh, today? No, I don't think the ones.
You don't think either lose?
I don't think either lose. No.
Who's more likely to lose?
The ones today, to be honest with you, I'm going to probably say Baylor. I'm probably say Baylor because the only reason I say that is I think Baylor's a better basketball team than Illinois, but I just think Illinois is just so big, fast, and strong. It's hard for Loyola has to play an absolute 100% perfect game to take down Illinois, which is why I look at Baylor and say, Wisconsin doesn't have to play a 100% perfect game to beat them. That's the only reason why I look at it that way. Well, similar lines, 6.5 and 7.5.
One of the reasons, Donnie, and maybe I'm just dead wrong this year on a lot of my future because look, I had Texas, I had Purdue going far as well. So maybe my future predictions don't mean much, but Illinois seems vulnerable. I don't know why. They just seem vulnerable to me. So I guess we'll see. But 2 grade 1 seeds. We'll see how they do today. I'll be rooting for Donnie here with Wisconsin. I don't have much. I don't love this game, but
would love a Baylor win by 3. I would come and be so happy.
Yeah. And Illinois lose.
Exactly. I don't have much on them at all. So
if Illinois lose today, Donnie, man, I'm selling. I'm going to try to sell that ticket. I'm going to try to sell it.
It opens everything up in that aspect. But those are the first two games here. Over under 137. It's hard. It's really hard to take, some of these games to go over because you really have to get out and run. These two teams play defense. This is what makes the tournament great because you're no longer going conference to conference. You're saying, hey, this team's really good in conference. This team stinks. These teams are really good overall. So it's hard to gauge a couple of those. But right off the bat, you got to hit jumpers. You get that mid-range game has to go. You got to make your free throws. And somebody even showed me the box score, or I saw it on Twitter this morning from Abilene Christian. If you would have showed me that box score, I would have said Texas by 25.
Listen, Texas did 22 turnovers. You can't win doing that. No. It's just not good enough at all. By the way,
go ahead.
The kid that won the game. Guess what he shot from the free throw line?
I know, like bad, like 50 or 60%.
I mean, come on, man. Yeah. If we needed him to make them, though, he'd have missed them both.
Yeah, kid from Creighton, too, same way, right? Late in the game, bad foul by UCSB. I'm like, there's no way this kid makes 2 free throws. All net.
If the stadium's full, he don't make them.
Exactly. If the pressure's on. No, put it this way, Jeff. If he was an 87% shooter, he bricks at least one of them. That's just
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. Keep moving. Syracuse, West Virginia. I was a complete miss on San Diego State. Baffled, bamboozled. I can't even believe it because it wasn't so much about the numbers. And I like San Diego State. I do. I said, this team is going to be able to dissect this zone, get the open looks. They couldn't make anything. And it was like, what did you guys even practice? So now I can't go back on what I initially thought, saying you want Syracuse day one. You don't want them day 2 of the tournament where the very next day you turn on the film like, hey, tomorrow we got to go against a matchup zone. Let's go out and have an hour practice and see if we can beat this matchup zone. So same thing with me. I'm going to keep it simple. I'll turn it over to you. I'm taking the points here. I'm taking the +4 with Syracuse because I don't know if Wisconsin, who does shoot the 3 ball well, has 30 hours to prepare for Syracuse, and we're going to get one of those Syracuse runs here in the tournament when they didn't deserve it technically, but here they are winning basketball games. It's just their MO. I'm taking the points here with the Qs. Jeff, what are you thinking?
Yeah, for the first time in a while, Donnie, Brian Dutcher was severely outcoached.
Oh, amazing. And that was part of our cap, right? Hey, look at this. Dutcher's going to get after it with his kids.
You don't see it often. He's usually very good. He learned from the great Steve Fisher, but he was severely outcoached. You got to make Buddy Bam put the ball in the court for a little bit. You can't just let him catch and shoot. Like, he's just going to beat you up. I get a feeling Bob Huggins has something for them today. I just think this is the end of the road for them. I don't think they can do – they just couldn't miss. And I'm always going to fade those teams off the next game, a day and a half later. When I look at West Virginia, I think they have some of the long length that could bother Syracuse a little bit. But they are, the concern with them is they are very much predicated on threes, which is a weird kind of misnomer from the norm of West Virginia. Usually they're very good defensively and, they work it down through the bigs and that sort of thing. But, Donnie, if you're Bob Huggins today, you can't – I don't think you can really – do you try to press a little bit, kind of try to mess the flow up a little bit? Maybe you do that. I don't know. But you have to make Boeheim put the ball on the floor and try to bottle them up that way. You can't just let them continuously catch and shoot. I don't know what the San Diego State defense was. It was just giving them wide open looks. I mean, Gerard and Boeheim, they're not going to miss those shots. It's just.
I'll tell you what's funny about that game too, Jeff, is because it was 15-10 San Diego State. I'm like, yep, exact same start I wanted to, and wasn't paying attention over the next 15 minutes. And I usually set my phone to the notification. So the notification comes in. I'm like, wait, is this halftime score correct? And I was like, this is over, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think Culver is kind of the difference here as well. I think Culver is better. I haven't loved Culver over the last month of the season, but, he's better than whatever Syracuse has. He should be able to dominate Dolezaj and some of the big. You just have to slow down Boeheim by just putting a good defender on him and make him put the ball in the court and don't let him just catch, turn on and shoot. Because, Donnie, look at the way Boeheim shoots the ball. He arcs it over. The kid's well coached.
Clay Thompson. He's no dribbles, Jeff.
Yeah.
Pull up 3. Bang. See ya.
No, he's really well coached. I mean, the way he just every part of his game. He's really kind of an ode to like an old school player, the way he plays. He's very fundamental and you look like you could see the kid in Hoosiers. I mean, he looks like a kid that would be on that team.
Jimmy Chitwood?
Yeah. That's what he reminds me of a little bit.
Yep.
When I'm in Indiana, I think of Jimmy Chitwood. Yeah. The kid doesn't say anything. He's just an assassin. He comes
Yeah,
out.
he goes. If Boeheim goes lights out today again, they're going to win this game outright. But I just think it might be a little bit muck and grind. And as I say that, 147 is a pretty high total here for the tournament. I just see it going that way where I'm not going to be surprised if Syracuse is down early and then they just, like a boa constrictor with that matchup zone. West Virginia goes cold for about 3 or 4 minutes, and here comes Syracuse on the way. I'm just going to lean on that 4 points here. But that total, 147, Jeff, high number.
Yeah.
Both of these teams can push it a little bit, but if you're so reliant on the 3-point shot, it's exact. Hey, if they make them, you're going to win. If they go average from 3, you're not going to win that game. You're just not.
Yeah, it's really just about it's about the variation. Like if you make threes, the game will go over. If they don't, it's going to go under. Donnie, here's the thing. You want to know what's going to win this game? Okay, cover, because it's not far off. It's what, 3.5?
Yeah. Free throws?
No. This game is going to come down, I believe, to just 50-50 balls. You look at that is the difference a lot of the time in games. And, both these teams are not good defensive rebounding teams. They both live on the glass. But one thing we know about West Virginia, always a very good rebounding team, very elite rebounding team. It's going to come down to those extra possessions, 1 or 2 extra possessions, that kind of dispels of who's going to get the job done. I lean to West Virginia. I just think their defense is a little bit better. I know they haven't played that well defensively lately, but I get a feeling I just need their defense to be really solid on Boeheim, and I think you make him put the ball on the floor and kind of mess up his motions a little bit. West Virginia a little deeper as well. I'm going to lean with the Mountaineers, but tough game.
Yep, following through. I'm going to have some action once again on every game. Maybe today's my bust out day because I thought I had it yesterday, and boy, oh boy, when I woke up, I wanted to throw my phone against the wall with everything going down the line. And again, just you try to foreshadow like with the crystal ball, and I say, hey Jeff, Abilene Christian beat Texas. I'm like, great, they hit their team total easy, right? Nope.
Yeah,
it's just amazing, man. It's just a craziness because I'm the guy that runs his thumb down the phone, so I don't see the score, but it still highlights the team that won. I'm like, wow, Abilene Christian won. What'd they do? Drop 75 and beat Texas?
And it's crazy too, man. I said it before the game. Like there were a lot. I mean, the whole world was on Abilene Christian. I didn't see one Texas better. Yeah. Like it was one of those. Everyone was on
it, baby, as they say, Jeff. Abilene, they can fly. So there you go. It worked. Right. We'll see if they can win their second
all
round.
Due respect to them, I don't want to see ups. I don't want to see them in another round. They are god awful to watch. I don't want to see them. Donnie, why don't you tell us about the Pixwise?
Yeah, I am.
Contest.
I'm going to get that, but you make such a great point. Like, hear this out. Everybody loves the upset until the team that had the upset plays the next game, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love this tournament. And then you go, well, wait, I could have seen like a big time matchup here, and I got Abilene Christian. Yeah,
what you could
100% with you.
You know what the next game, Donnie, would have been if things went the way they should have went. Who Abilene or Texas would have played?
Who's that?
They wouldn't they have played UCLA?
I don't have my bracket up. Yeah, I don't even have my bracket.
I think they'd have played UCLA. So.
Yep, some blue bloods out there. Well, the Pickwise Capper contest, Jeff's future went up in flames. But hey, good thing about that, you don't have to sweat it anymore, and you can just get down to picking day-to-day games in this. But 9 experts in the tournament, 10 grand on the table. John Rothstein, Rashad Phillips, Megan making money, and they've been on campus, and also the mailman from Pittsburgh. All future picks, they are up on the site with Pixwise, so you can check them on route as they go. But obviously still a lot of games to play in this one and a lot of money up for grabs.
Luckily, Donnie, and, good for me, future doesn't matter unless it's tied. So I hit my best bet yesterday. Donnie, that was a big key yesterday. A lot of people had, they bet all 3 games. A lot of people had UConn. A lot of people. So you're rooting against, other
but here's my question for you. If that's the actual case, did you not read the directions on what you're supposed to do in this contest for 10 G's? Because wouldn't you just go on Gonzaga then if the money didn't matter?
Well, no, I made that case yesterday. I did not know the directions. That's the point. No, but that's why I made it. Didn't matter. Like the future meant nothing.
No, but I'm saying, like, why would you take a deep long shot when you should just take the favorite? Is because they're probably going to win anyway, and then that's your tiebreaker. You know what I mean? Like the tiebreaker wasn't you would get 4,500. It made sense like the tiebreaker would only kick in is if you won that and then could add it. So why wouldn't you just take the
I guess
absolute
I didn't
favorite on that?
And the rules, but whatever. Either way, I had Texas. Either way, it really. I just have to win the comp now, and I'm doing pretty well. I hit my best bet yesterday. So
No, there you go. So we'll see as we continue down this path and get through this card here. A great little Sunday afternoon of action, Jeff, as we tip into a game 8:05, 8:06, Texas Tech and Arkansas on the FanDuel Sportsbook here. Jeff opened up as a -1 towards Texas Tech. That has now grown to a -2 for Texas Tech. Over under this one, 141 across the board. We know Arkansas is talented. They like to get out and run fast. You saw Texas Tech struggle in the first half versus Utah State, pull away in the second. Just a pedigree program versus a team that's, hey, not been here too many times, and we're just looking to make a run. Didn't work out for Utah State in that aspect. But as I look at this game, I'm going to say it here, Jeff. I like the dog. I like the dog in this. You take the 2 points, which usually we say, like, hey, it's money line it because how many times they're going to win by, a certain amount. But you see in this tournament, a lot of these games coming down to the wire. But when I look at Arkansas, shot-making ability, athletic ability, able to push it, if Texas Tech doesn't bring their A game today, they are in big trouble. I'm going to go SEC in this one, Jeff, over the Big 12.
Yeah, I'm looking more at the total here, Donnie. I think, you make some key points, and I think your point is kind of the way I want to go with this. What worked for Arkansas in the first game, Donnie, against Colgate? When they did something.
We have better athletes than you, and we are going to turn up the game.
We're going to run. We're going to, turn you up, turn you, into a temperature. They want to do that on both ends, defensively and offensively. And Donnie, one thing I've seen with Texas Tech this year, they played in a lot of games where they're willing to do that. They have some athletes like Mac McClung who can match you score for score, and they found themselves in a lot of high 70s and 80s games, weirdly enough. I know people just assume, and look, Texas Tech might just try to slow it down and do what they normally do, but at the end of the day, this is an offense in Texas Tech that is pretty good at getting to the line and rebounding, and they don't turn it over, and they make threes. Both these teams can shoot and they can score and they can do good things offensively. I just feel like whenever I can get an Arkansas game this low, I have some interest. I don't think Arkansas is particularly strong defensively, which I do have some concerns about. But if I'm Arkansas, I turn this upside down. Make them kind of go up and down. Don't try to slow this game down.
Moses Moody in this game. You have an NBA guy, a lottery pick. This is your game to shine. That's what you're leaning on. You need him to dominate this game, get to the rim whenever he wants, but very impressive. I agree with you with Arkansas. If you're Texas Tech and you engage Arkansas, and if this game is an up-tempo game, that's a credit to Arkansas in this basketball game. They can press full court. Now, again, it's a markedly different athlete than what you saw from Arkansas playing last time versus Colgate, as opposed to what they're going to get from Texas Tech. And I know you love Chris Beard. He's a great head coach. This is an awesome basketball game to look at. But if I'm just leaning on to say, I think one team can impose their will athletically, I think it's Arkansas. And that's the way I go with this game.
No, they definitely can. But I think, the fact that Texas Tech has a kid like McClung who can go off and they've never had that kind of player, that instant offense, the guy that can just score. I mean, if you can find a kid in the Texas Tech program like him, I'd like to hear it. They don't have it. Culver, all those guys, just kind of deliberate players that were good defenders. McClung is a kid that could drop 30 any day of the week. So I'm going to lean on the over here, 140.5. I think it's a pretty solid play. I think both these teams get to 70. As I said, Texas Tech has been more than willing against opponents that like to play a little bit fast. Like, look at some of these games, Donnie. Oklahoma State, 82-77. The West Virginia games, they played high scoring. Both Oklahoma States and West Virginia games are high scoring. Baylor was a high scoring game. They have been willing to run against teams that want to run as well. So, I'm going to lean on the over here. I think Arkansas ultimately will win, maybe 75-72, something like that.
It's funny to watch because as you're trying to break these games down, like during conference tournament play, regular season play, it's like, hey, this offense is really good, and they're going up against the 323rd rated defense. Like everybody is really good in the tournament, so the flaws don't really come out. The one thing, if you maybe can see something, defending of the three-point shot for Texas Tech, not all that great, and also Texas Tech does foul as well, so some components that could add up. But again, I'm looking towards Arkansas in this game, over under in this one, as we said as well, 141. So we'll see what turns out there. But totals are a tough world to weave here in the tournament.
Yeah, what we need in this game is a happy official that wants to call everything. Both these teams
wants to be a part of the game.
Yeah, and we need the 3-point ball to fly. We need McClung to hit go 5 for 9 or something, and we need the boys for Arkansas in whether it's Moody or, Jalen Tate or whoever, to make some threes. We need some three balls to fly.
It's funny because you said you want the refs to call it. Like, can you picture like it's just an alternate universe? Like the players on the court, like when somebody gets hot, they're just like throwing up, heat checks from like 3-point range. And maybe another player on the team's like, I got to get mine now. Like the refs out there, like, all right, I called the first three. And the other ref's like, all right, I got to get mine now. Boom!
Yeah.
Offensive foul going the other way. All right, now you guys had 2 calls. Let me get in. No. He hit him on the arm going up. Just funny stuff where the refs are like, no, let me get some run in this game.
We need 30 foul shots apiece for each team. And we need a couple 4-point plays, that kind of stuff.
It'll be fun to watch to see it play out. Now, a game I can't bet here in New Jersey, as Jeff likes to say. I usually am pretty curt and quick on Rutgers, but I don't like Rutgers, and it's my home state, and sometimes I cheer for them, sometimes I don't. But this game, is this the game? Number one, Jeff, 2 questions for you. I like Houston. I'm going to actually go with an under 132. We'll explain it in a little bit. But is this the game that now you're on a center stage once again that Geo Baker sits out because the NCAA is taking advantage of him?
Yeah, weirdly enough, the Jordan Bohannon played last night.
Yeah.
Didn't see any. It's like, again, boycotts are supposed to be, they're supposed to bother what you do. Where did that go? I think that was such a movement, it's so fake, man. It's so fraudulent. You don't want to actually do anything. You just want attention. Donnie, what Jordan Bohannon has?
What?
A podcast.
Yeah. Twitter.
Yeah. Hey, let me get followed. It's goofy, man. But yeah, Geo Baker will be out there today as well. No problem. You're under, you called, Donnie.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't agree with you more. This is going to be a ugly game. Rutgers is a disaster on offense. I mean, they are a disaster. And Houston is about as good as it gets defensively. I am a little worried. Dejan Giroux may or may not play today. I know he kind of hurt himself in the Cleveland State game. Question is whether he'll go. I guess you're only worried, Donnie, is Houston kind of continues to do what they do on offense and just scored 75 or 80. But, Rutgers, they're a strong defensive team. They have a guy like Miles Johnson that can really clog up the middle. And they have some pretty good individual defenders. I'm going to lean on the fact that this game is just ugly. It kind of plays out like the Indiana game did for Rutgers in the Big Ten tournament. You're really ugly, 61-52 or something. I agree with you. I'm going to go under.
By the way, also, I'm pretty like Pixwise is a great company. And I say that because, getting into emerging into the market, growing the channels, they got some money to work with. I'm going to put this out there, Jeff. If, Geo Baker wanted to sit out or Jordan Bohannon wanted to sit out, I'm pretty sure we can add a third chair on this, get them a little bit of money in their pocket so they won't be exploited and they can break down the tournament. How about that? Is that a good idea maybe for them?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, we're all ears. Yes. Any of you guys. I mean, I saw Isaiah Livers had a not NCAA shirt on.
Yeah, he's not even playing. Like Isaiah Livers, drop out, come on the show with us for the rest of the tournament. We'll get a lot of views. You can say how bad the NCAA is, and we can actually pick games and pick your brain on Michigan and Juwan Howard and Phil Martelli. It'll be fantastic stuff. I agree.
It's almost, Donnie, like the whole notion of you complain every day about how bad your job is. You hate your job. Quit then. What do you you can go grow.
That's not it, big. That's not it, big man.
But you got to take a risk on yourself. If you don't like your job, you want to be a gambler. Quit. And
I would love to have Bohannon on with us because, we could talk about Luka. Maybe we could even get Luka Garza to come on as a guest while Jordan Bohannon is hosting with us. I mean,
I will say
a long way.
I will say about Bohannon, the kid has some unbelievable hair, man. I mean, what a piece
lettuce.
Of lettuce.
He's got that good lettuce up there.
He does. The kid, listen. When I do my hair, I have similar. His hair is terrific, man. It just looks great the way it's. It's a stone cold banger, that hair. Good killing.
Now, Rose says, I'll quit a job fast. Yes. Man, just showing up to work boy, I hate this place. And the boss goes, what does the boss always say when you say that? What does he say, Jeff?
Quit.
You can leave.
I don't need you.
You can leave anytime. Yes.
I remember
it's 100% correct.
When I used to work for my dad years ago, I would say, I hate this job. Well, then leave. I don't need you here.
Yes. It's the best. You're so right on that. But anyway, if you guys are looking to bet these games, which again, I'm in New Jersey, Jeff. I can't bet the Rutgers game. But you know what is nice? And I don't know who out there has not signed up on FanDuel yet, but if you haven't signed up and took advantage of it, sometimes you see, Jeff, like, oh, $50 free bet, $100 free bet. Match you up to $200, $1,000 at FanDuel to get in right now. You like Loyola today? You want to get the 7 points? You want to jump in on that? $1,000 free bet for you if you are new to the site for new customers. Now, obviously, you have to be in some of the selected states that FanDuel is active. You have to be 21 or older in order to take that bet. But guess what? If you went in there, Jeff, you laid the wood on Loyola and they lost, you know what FanDuel says? All right, Donnie, you lost that. Here's your $1,000 back. See if you can build it back up. Fantastic stuff here right here at FanDuel. And also, if you have any details, click the button below. There is a link to get you right to FanDuel and get you going here.
Yep, if you're in a qualifying state, make sure you check out FanDuel. More ways to win at FanDuel, as we know. Check it out. Hit the FanDuel Sportsbook up. Why haven't you done that yet? There's so many things you can bet on, so many things you can do. Check out FanDuel now. And by the way, shout out
Evan Joseph. Look at Evan Joseph in there. Go ahead, Jeff.
Shout out to FanDuel. They got some great, brick and mortar properties as well. So, check FanDuel out now.
Evan Joseph, Jeff, hashtag not Pixwise property. I mean, we can get that going. Like if he wants to, even if they lose and drop out, I'm pretty sure, Jeff, we can make a phone call and be like, hey, maybe you need a little bit of scratch in your pocket since you got knocked out of the tournament for these guys. Why don't you come on and, talk about it? We even let you talk about how bad the NCAA is, right? Can we do that?
Yeah, we hate the NCAA also.
Moving on. By the way, let's get back to the Rutgers game. I do think it stays under the total. 132 is an extremely low total. But if you want to talk about two teams that have no problem, Jeff, throwing punches each and every time up and down the court, rebounding, walking it up, and having great guard play, this is the game for you. Now, how about the line on this show, Jeff? Talking about 8.5, 7.5, depending on where you're looking at. Is this a game where you think Rutgers can stay inside that number because of that low total? Or is this one of those games where we say, Houston wins, Houston blows you out, and you stick with it?
Yeah, my thought on this was like, this is like 65, 54 or something. Like, I think they probably win by
first 10. To 60, right? First to 60.
Yeah. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Houston like scores 60 and it's like 60-49. Like, I think it's an ugly, ugly game. Kind of has the makings of a type of game like we saw late last night with Texas Abilene Christian, but instead of Texas losing, Houston's in control and they find a way to win. But it's a really low scoring, tough defensive battle. So that's what I would agree.
3 games on the card here. This is an interesting one because I know when you see that dog on the court that wins, you get all excited. Like, you never watched Oral Roberts before. Oh my goodness, they took down Ohio State. Now you're going to tell me again they're getting 8.5 points in this game versus Florida. Over under this one at FanDuel, Jeff, opened up at 149.5. Now goes down to 148. I always have a game of the day that I hate, but I'm trying to pick every single game to see if I can, what my final numbers on the tournament will be, because anything knows anything about me and Jeff, the more you bet, the more you lose is usually the theory. And right now I am sticking with that theory in the NCAA. Maybe I'll get hot on the day to try to turn it around because I had 1 winning day, 2 losing days. So maybe today we even it out to go 2-2 with winning days versus losing days. This is a tough one for me. And I'm going to go with the team total in this one on Florida, Jeff, over 78.5 for tempo. It goes against the grain on everything I believe in. Florida, not really super up tempo. They want to dig in and play defense. Maybe, Oral Roberts on the big stage slows it down a little bit, but this game just has the feel to me like Florida, if they're going to win and cover this line, they probably can do whatever they want on offense. That's the way I'm leaning. Hate the game, but I got to play every game, and I'm going to take UF's team total over 78.5 in this ball game. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, if there's a game of tempo today that's high scoring, it's this one, right? You got 2 offenses that are going to kind of be able to do what they want to do.
Balls, boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
But Florida continues to be a weird team to me. They won't run. The coaching isn't good. Like, it's just a weird team. I do worry a little bit because I think Oral Roberts will have to double Colin Caston at times. That will leave people open. And whether Florida can make those shots is really anybody's best guess. If you're a psychic, let us know. But I'm gonna ride with Oral Roberts here. I'm gonna go down with the ship.
I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him. I am.
Yeah, I think Asmus and O'Banner, they're just always in games, Donnie, because they do all those things you want them to do. They don't turn it over. They make threes. They make their free throws. They have a star. And look, Donnie, I know you even just mentioned they are not a good defensive team. But one thing I will point out, over the last 5 games, they're only giving up about 71 points a game. For them, which is quite good. So if they can be around that today, I think they cover this game. I think it's a game likely played in the 70s, maybe even 80. My question is, can Oral Roberts score a certain amount of points? Because I'll put the barometer of points for Florida at, I know it's 78. I'll give them 82-ish.
Yeah.
I feel like Oral Roberts can get to 75 here. I think that Oral Roberts, this is just too many points. If this was 5.5, I might not be as interested, but I thought 8 was too high. They're part of my contest picks today.
Yeah, and also when you take a look at Oral Roberts, what keeps you in the game, Jeff? Be able to make an elite amount of three-point shots and also hit them at a decent number, 38%. And then also, if you get fouled, make it count at the line. You see the teams that go 10 for 12 from the line, and you see the teams that go 4 for 10. It's not a surprise when one team covers and one doesn't because you're not knocking down your free throws. They can do all that stuff. For me, it's up to Florida. If Florida plays well on offense, they should be able to do whatever they want against Oral Roberts. But sometimes we get into these competitions here and say, hey, they just can't make a shot. And when you're dealing with a total around 80 points, you can't have that, hey, they scored 10 points in the first 5 minutes and then 3 points over the next 5 minutes. It's already a wrap. You already lost that. So I'm going to go against the grain in this one, normally looking at Florida maybe is an under, say, hey, I'm going to take my shot at under 80. I'm going to go over the total in this one. What do you think about the chances of Oral Roberts pulling another victory off as a major upset here, though?
Yeah, I definitely worry for Florida just on a few different things. Look at some of the little things, Donnie, in games that matter. This is a Florida team that, due to their point guard problems, have had turnover issues. I mean, they're as far as this tournament, they're one of the lowest as far as turnover rates concerned. They're turning the ball over at a disastrous amount. What do we know about Donnie staying in games? This is also a team that cannot defend without fouling. Okay, they put opponents on the line a lot. It's just not good enough. And when you look at Florida's defense, for points allowed from a point distribution standpoint for the other team, opponents are getting about 21% of their points from the free throw line against Florida. That's a concern here against Oral Roberts. That's a way they can hang in a game here and stay and hang around. Paul Mills is a way better coach than Mike White. It's just that simple. He's been a pretty good tactician and game planner. I like Florida, but they've just been inconsistent to me. I think this is the type of team that can pull it off. I don't know if they should have won that first game. They won it, and they did it, but it was a questionable one, and it was tough. Virginia Tech just didn't have enough late. I'll take the cover. Can they win? Sure they can. I don't think Florida is that good.
All right, take a look at another game we think might be a rock fight. Villanova going up against North Texas. This line opens up at FanDuel 6.5, drops to 5.5 now, and an over-under at 126.5, which actually got right before the show at 127, has now dropped to 126, and I'm feeling an under in this game. I just think long possessions on both sides, and we know from North Texas, Jeff, they want no part of saying we want to engage in a running game. We are going to slow this down. We are going to collapse. We're going to play elite defense. We're going to hope you miss your shots. And at the end of the game, when it's tied, we are used to being in this spot where it's lower. Villanova is the better basketball team. I would be shocked if Villanova goes down to North Texas in this game. But I'm sitting on an boy, you usually talk about like, hey, I'm going to go under 158.5. I'm going to go under the 127 in this game. Another one that sets up for me. First one to 60 wins. I got bit a little bit on Villanova in the last game. I thought they would be up by 4 or more points versus Winthrop. They weren't, but they played very well in the second half. But this is also another game that I look at as a 5.5 point number, Jeff. Be shocked if North Texas has the lead at the half. So I would lean Villanova first half, but my play on the game is under the 127 here.
Yeah, I'm taking a Mean Green. They're part of the contest picks as well. When you look at them, this is, I think, where the loss of Gillespie really hurts. You're going to have a team in North Texas with Bell and with Hamlet and with Reese and all these guys that I think are just going to lock down on the guard play for Villanova and make it difficult in getting the ball to Rob Cyril. Rob Cyril's a mobile kid, and he'll definitely bother Simmons a little bit. But we've seen time and time again North Texas answer the call against bigs, whether it was Basie or Lofton or Trevion Williams or Zach Edey, whoever. McCaslin is an elite coach. And if there's anyone that can coach with Jay Wright, it's McCaslin. I also, Donnie, when you look at North Texas, they're really efficient, man. I mean, they run really slow, and both these teams are slow, but they're really efficient. I mean, look at their numbers. They're top 30 in both 3 and 2-point percentage. They do a pretty nice job from the line, and I don't ultimately trust Villanova defensively, and I think that's the concern. I mean, we can't look at their numbers and be that impressed. They don't have a ton of bodies right now. The problem that Villanova also has is on offense, they're basically playing 5 against 4. Brandon Slater is a complete non-factor offensively. So you run into some issues. I think this is a little rich. If we've seen anything from North Texas, they can hang in games and ultimately find ways to win. Look at even the games that they stepped up. I mean, you lost by 8 to Loyola, lost by 12 to West Virginia, Mississippi State by 6, did lose to Arkansas by a wide margin. But this is a different team than those teams back then. They're playing well. They've got great coaching. I think they hang in because they are really good on both sides of the basketball.
Yeah, we'll see what happens because North Texas, we do know, plays, very good defense, one of the better teams at forcing turnovers. Villanova, not really a team that turns it over. You're right. It's going to be a coaching clinic today between these two. I understand that Gillespie's out, but they played pretty well against Winthrop in that last basketball game, not turning it over. They're going to get more pressure from North Texas, but I just look at some of these as a pedigree game where my team athletes are better than yours overall. And we'll see if it plays out. But I do like the under in this game. But I would be surprised if Villanova – forget about the spread. I would be surprised if Villanova loses outright to North Texas today.
I think Villanova really, at least personally, I think they lucked out. I mean, Chandler Valdron just was brutal. I mean, 2 for 10. He just didn't do anything. And they still only won by 10. I think, again, this is going to be – Winthrop can't really do much to you defensively. North Texas can. Okay, so – 6.5 I thought was a little rich. I think this is the game where a Gillespie-ish, the Gillespie thing kind of catches up to you a little bit because Hamlin's legit on both sides.
Last game, night game, they like to hide Oregon State because I don't think many people have seen Oregon State play, but they continue to win some basketball games here, winning the Pac-12 tournament, winning their first game in the tournament. Now you line them up again and take the points, or line them up again as -6 here with an over-under of 141. I'm not going to stop the train now. Oregon State's hot. They can play. I like Oklahoma State. They're a really good basketball team. Should they win tonight? Yeah, I'm taking the points. Oregon State plus the 6.
Yeah, I'm going to, and I want to say this. This is not
12, Jeff. Pac-12.
Yeah, this is not something that I'm going to throw out as a really huge opinion. It's not part of the contest I'm in. I'm not playing it. I think you talked about athleticism and stuff. I think this is where that kind of shines through. Oregon State's been a legendary team the last game or two. It's been impressive. They look like a totally different team. They look like the best team in the Pac-12, weirdly enough. But I think this is where it just kind of ultimately falls apart. Oklahoma State has the athletes, and they're just going to run. I don't really like the transition defense for Oregon State. I think they lucked out against Tennessee, who just couldn't make shots that they had. Oklahoma State will. They have a guy in Cade Cunningham who everybody knows and everybody knows can take a game over. I'm happy this game's late because I will be, leaving the casino at that point and driving home because I don't care about this game. I won't be betting it, and I'll just, once I get home, check and see who won or not.
All the way through, Jeff. So I got picks in all 8 games here, including the Rutgers game, which I hope Rutgers does actually get smoked in that game. But that's not because of Rutgers is my home state. It's because Houston, I need them to continue to advance and improve on my odds. So, hey, at least I could say through the first day, looking up my futures odds, we got CLV. So let me ask you this, Jeff.
Well, Donnie.
Tickets. Houston, LSU, and Baylor. Can I go to the casino with you today and sort of like push, because it's FanDuel, can I push them in and say, hey, give me the odds back on it since I have CLV?
You cannot do that.
Damn.
But you can sell the tickets on Props Hub if you want. Donnie, I will say this. Keep this in mind. I know I had Texas. I had some futures that have crashed and burned, but I as well have LSU to get to the Final Four. I have 2 different bets there. I do have Houston 21-1 as well. I'm riding that with you. Mm-hmm. And, ultimately, if we can take care of Illinois today, we might be sitting pretty. I will be unloading that Loyola future if I get past this round and it's allowed.
Ride it, Jeff. Ride it to the Final Four.
Thanks, everybody. Well, I might. We'll see. I love Sister Jean. Shout out Sister Jean. Sister Jean with the drip, by the way. Did you see those shoes she was rocking? She has more drip than half you people out there. No. Do you know what drip is, Donnie?
Yeah, I guess it's like some ice and like looking cool, flashy.
The way you look, your gear, your threads. Mm-hmm. Ken says you should be on national radio. Should be on national radio, Jeff.
Oh, Jeff, he's not saying you should be on there. He's saying you can listen to it on your commute home.
Well, I should be on there, but okay. Thanks, Ken. I don't know. All right. Okay. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. We will be back tomorrow with another show. We'll take a look at the Monday card, break down what we saw today.
That's right. Monday. Yes, Monday. We have NCAA tournament action, which is not usually the case. Thank goodness we do.
Yeah, everyone have a great day. Thanks for checking out the show. Make sure you check out Pixwise.com. Check out the cap contest. Check out all the great things going on over at Pixwise. We're here every day, 9 a.m. Check out FanDuel. Check out all that stuff. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. He's Donnie Rightside. I'm the big man on campus. We'll see you Monday here on the Hoops Betting Hour. Good luck and enjoy the games.